Hello and welcome to another edition of Sun Dragon Tips and Tricks. I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in downtown Brevard, North Carolina. It's Monday, so I'm coming to you from my house today. And I thought we would continue with our series on basic shapes of things you can make with knitting and crocheting. This will be part 2 of talking about sweaters. Today, let's talk about necklines. Take a look at this little guy. This is my Ranunculus that I just finished, and it's wonderful. It's a little short, but I'm not going to stand up today. It's designed to be a crop top. I could have made it longer. That is the beautiful thing about knitting and crocheting, is that you can adjust things. And one of the things you can adjust, I used to have a book, it was kind of like choose your own adventure, make your own sweater. One of the things you can do differently, depending on what you like, is you can make a different collar. This is one that's classically known as a crew neck sweater because it's fairly round and close to the neck up at the top. But let's go over some of the vocabulary of what you might see if you're searching for a pattern. Some patterns you can adapt, and some patterns you need to use a little bit of trial and error to fix what they're going to look like. Now, a lot of the sweaters I make have a crew neck because that's just what I'm comfortable with, if it's nicely over a t-shirt or something like that. So I don't have a whole lot of projects to show off to you, but I'm going to show you what they look like on my whiteboard. So let's get to it. I thought it could be kind of interesting to leave this blank and fill it in as I go. So this is going to be an experiment. Let's see how it goes. So let's take a look. What I just explained, a basic crew neck, and yet these are all my heads that are kind of the same and kind of not, but roll with me on this. So basic crew neck sweaters. A crew neck describes something that is going to be fairly close to the neck, and it's going to be fairly circular looking in shape. Sometimes it will just be a line. And sometimes it will have a little bit of ribbing there. More often than not, it will be a few inches of ribbing. Sometimes I have a sweater called the Calliope where it is huge, but the neck opening itself is pretty small. The biggest thing with a crew neck, though, is that it is tight to the neck. A V-neck is kind of self-explanatory, right? There's a V shape, and it is a lower in the front neckline. So it often will start, it could be wide or narrow, but it will often expose a lot more of your chest or the front area. It will come down like this. And that could have edging around it or not. There is often a lot more shaping done with a V-neck. A crew neck could be done with short rows or with actual shaping. A V-neck really needs to have increases or decreases written right into the pattern. There aren't as many options for how a V-neck can be created in knitting and crochet. A scoop neck is kind of in between the two. It plunges a little more, but there often will be, there'll be more gentle shaping to it. So it may not go as far out to your shoulders, but it will scoop down, as the name implies. And you know, I could have made that a little more balanced. Let's try that. Yep. It doesn't have as geometric of a shaping, perhaps, as the V-neck. On the whole, scoop necks tend to have less of ribbing or other things like that. So what else do we have? Let's take a look. A boat neck is a very classic. I almost think about Audrey Hepburn, those kinds of things when I think about a boat neck. Let me make this a little bit more of a gentle shoulder over here. A boat neck, if you think about like a canoe, that's kind of what we're describing when we think about a boat neck. A boat neck will be wide but shallow. And so it will maybe even go as far as the edges of your shoulders, but it will not plunge like a scoop neck. It can be very, very graceful. I personally, I have the girls and I have big, huge bra straps. And so I sometimes have trouble pulling this type. I will have trouble pulling this type of neckline off because I'm not so comfortable with my bra straps showing. If you are, then this works for you. Or if you don't need to have the big, thick bra straps like me. Who thought we would talk about bra straps that much on a knitting channel, right? But it is a wide, graceful looking neckline. Then there's the high neck or the turtleneck. Really the only difference between the two, I would say, is a turtleneck is one that you would fold over. The classic idea of a turtleneck is something that is 2-layer. You can have something for a high neck. Instead of a crew neck that is right down here, a high neck will come up over your neck area itself. It could have ribbing that comes down to where a classic crew neck line would be, or not. It could be rolled. It could be a lot of different things. I'll put a little note over here. A turtleneck, I think, would actually have a fold to it. This is almost what I would refer to as a mock turtleneck, one that doesn't fold over, but it also can be referred to as a high neck. This can be great for warmth or for coverage, those types of things. And then a variation on the high neck that's more fashionable is the cowl neck. It will look like you're wearing a cowl. And the classic symbols or the classic look of a cowl is often a little more drapey. So it will have more fabric to it, and it will often look like you have thrown a cowl over your neck. Let's give that a little bit of a different shape there. It will be layered and foldy and drapey. And sometimes a cowl neck can be super drapey. So sometimes it will come way down. But it will still be attached to your sweater. It could look like it's doubled over, potentially. Oftentimes a cowl neck is added on afterwards. It could be picking up stitches and then adding a whole lot more fabric. That can be the fashionable version of a high neck. So that's it. Just a few basic things. These are words you may want to look out for when you're searching on Ravelry. Crew neck, boat neck, V-neck. I believe in attributes. you might be able to pick your collar, the type of collar you're looking for, and you can search for patterns based on this. So that's my video on different types of collars. Like I said, this is a loose crew neck. It could be a little tighter in. Depends on how much coverage you want of this area. It depends on how exposed you want your shoulders to be. Boat neck is very classic, is very elegant. I personally don't like the boat neck for me, but a lot of people do like it for their sweaters. There's so many different ways that you can modify a sweater pattern. I tend to like sticking to the pattern and not going too far off. I kind of have to do that for my shop. I need to make something that follows the recipe, follows the pattern, so that my customers know what they're going to get. But you can experiment with all those things, or you can search for a pattern that is going to fit the guidelines of what you want out of a sweater by knowing the right terminology. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what else you would like to see out of the tips and tricks videos. We have a whole lot of techniques on the channel now, but I'm always happy to make more. I still want to get into some basic, I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks I can do one that's on basic stitches of how you can combine knits and purls into some basic patterns, how you can change up instead of just knitting a row and purling row or knitting every row. We can talk about some of the terminology that has to go with that. Know that if you change up knits and purls in the same row, it can affect your gauge. So sometimes it's not as easy as just taking a pattern and then throwing new stitches into it. That might affect how it will fit. But that's something we can talk about another week. Let me know what questions you have. Consider subscribing to this channel. Our numbers are still growing, which is wonderful. And if you'd like to, you can also become a patron over on patreon.com/sundragon. That way your name goes on the credits of both here and over on the sideshow where Liz and I are talking about projects. And any level gets your names in the credits, just on a different donor level. So consider supporting the work that we're doing both at the shop and here at home. And let me know how we can add to the channel. Thanks a lot. And as always, may your crafting be filled with joy and confidence. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Hi, kitty. You don't have any need for any necks on your sweaters, do you? No. Yes. Ooh. Ooh, there's the claws. There they are. All right, I'll let you go back to relaxing. You're probably gonna bite me while I film now because I did that, right?